Welcome to Interconnected. I'm your host, Jordan Saunders, and today we're diving into the fascinating world of voice science, technology, and community with someone who's dedicated her career to understanding and improving how we evaluate and care for voices worldwide. Our guest today is Dr. Calaf, a leading expert in speech language pathology, voice assessment, and cross cultural research. She's the creator of AllVoiced, a global platform that's changing the way we study and understand voices. So, if you've ever been curious about how your voice works, how technology is helping people regain or strengthen their voice, or why voices are so unique, this conversation is for you. So we'll go ahead and get started. Every great mission starts with a defining moment. And Dr. Calaf, can you tell us a little about your work and where you are located? Also, can you incorporate what the turning point in your life was that made you dedicate yourself to voice science?
I'm so happy to be here with you. So, you asked me about the turning point in my life that made me dedicate myself to voice science. Whoa, how much time do you have? Because it took me a while, a quite few detours to figure out that at my core, I am a scientist. So, are you sure you want the full story? I wore many hats. I started out as a speech language pathologist, specializing in voice disorders, while also working as a singer and teaching singing at a music school. Then, for 13 years, I was a professor, a university professor in speech language pathology at the Autonomous University of Barcelona. And during that time, I balanced teaching with clinical practice as an SLP while still teaching singing. But at some point, I felt the need for a change. I've always needed challenges, and in some way, I wanted to change the world, or at least a try. So I moved into professional organizations, taking on leadership roles in project management as a technical director of what you could call the Catalan ASHA and later also the Spanish ASHA. At first, I managed to juggle these responsibilities alongside teaching and completing my PhD, but it became overwhelming. I did finish my doctorate, but couldn't see any real prospects for growth. So when I got a full time offer in leadership, I couldn't turn it down. And I made the tough choice to leave academia. And that was in 2019. And it was hard. I needed that career shift. By stepping away from university felt like losing a part of myself, you know. At the same time, that my leadership roles challenged me in new ways, and I grew so much during that period. But 2 years ago, I realized that those leadership roles were not where I truly belonged. I decided to start writing my article based on my PhD thesis, the Catalan and Spanish adaptation of the KB. And as I work on it, it became clear to me, uh, this is where I belong. This is what I meant to do. So I took the leap. I left those positions. I fully embraced what I love. And now I'm an independent researcher, collaborating with different universities where I keep teaching while doing research on my own terms. And uh, there's a twist I never saw coming. I've also become a developer. I had never coded before, but my research needs pushed me into learning, and now I'm developing AllVoiced, building the tools I wish existed for voice assessment and research. And well, I love combining my scientific background with technology, and I think I've never been happier. And hopefully, one day, research will also pay my bills.
Well, most people don't even think about their voice until they lose it. So, can you share why is voice health something that should matter to everyone, whether they're a speaker or a teacher or just having a conversation?
That's so true. Most people don't even think about their voice until they lose it. But the truth is, voice health matters to everyone because our voice is so much more than a sound. It's how we communicate, connect, and express who we are. Humans are social beings. We need to talk, interact, share our experiences. It's how we process the world around us. So, when our voice is compromised, we don't just lose volume, we lose a key part of how we engage with others. Imagine a teacher who suddenly can't project their voice in a classroom, or a singer who can't express themselves through music, or just someone who can't make themselves heard in a conversation. It's isolating. And voice issues don't just affect singers or teachers. Think about how much we rely on our voice every single day, talking on the phone, ordering coffee, laughing with friends. Taking care of our voice isn't just about avoiding problems, it's about making sure we can keep expressing ourselves fully and effortlessly. So, yeah, voice care isn't just for performers or public speakers, it's for everyone because our voice isn't just something we use, it's part of who we are.
Hmm. I like that. We live also in an age, and you mentioned this earlier, where technology is transforming every aspect of medicine. But can you share what's one breakthrough in voice science that has completely changed the way we care for our voices?
We're living in such an exciting time for voice science. One of the biggest breakthroughs right now is the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to analyze voice as a biomarker for health.
Mm.
Right now, teams from leading medical and tech institutions like Massachusetts General Hospital, Harvard Medical School, MIT are looking at how AI can transform voice assessments and care. There's a lot of work being done to develop automated tools, real time monitoring systems, and objective measures of voice function that could help detect disorders earlier and make treatments more personalized. And it's not just these teams, large scale projects like Bridge to AI Voice in the US and the Collive Voice project in Europe are also exploring how voice could be used as a diagnostic tool for different medical conditions. The potential is huge. Imagine a future where a simple voice recording could help detect neurological diseases, mental health conditions, or even vocal strain before they become serious problems. With these innovations, we're moving beyond just subjective assessments and invasive procedures. AI driven insights could help clinicians make more precise diagnoses, track vocal changes more accurately, and even give people new ways to monitor their own vocal health. In fact, I always joke with my students with all these AI driven advancements, all the stuff I'm teaching you right now might not even be needed anymore. But honestly, no matter how advanced technology gets, speech language pathologists will always need sharp ears. And thank goodness for that, because with all the work I'm doing to revolutionize perceptual voice assessment with voice, I'd hate for it to go to waste. So yeah, technology is completely transforming how we care for our voices. And with AI evolving so fast, this is just the beginning.
Yeah, well, that transitions into what you talked a little bit about earlier, that you developed all isn't just a tool, it's really a movement reshaping how we understand and assess voices. So, could you explain how it is making a difference and how can it change the way people think about their own voice?
Jordan, it really means a lot that you describe all as a movement because that's exactly how I think of it. I truly believe it's changing the way we approach auditory perceptual voice assessment. Now, is it changing how people think about their own voice? Maybe. But what I think it's really changing is how people think about their own ears. Our
Mhm.
voice is creating a space where people can see for themselves that there's no single way to perceive a voice. By collecting thousands of voice assessments, my goal is to offer something completely new, a way to visualize how voices are evaluated with real perceptual data plotted out like scattered clouds from a huge range of voices. And that could be a game changer, not just for research, but for training and clinical practice. Imagine future voice professionals actually seeing and interacting with how voices are perceived by different listeners across different contexts. That's something we've never had before. So instead of just making people think differently about their voice, I think All Voiced is making them think differently about how they listen. And honestly, to me, that's just as powerful.
Yeah, differently how they listen. I like that. It's allowing me to really think too, even as a speech language pathologist, how we perceive different things, whether it's through our work or in the community. So I like what you said.
Thank
You've
you.
worked with a lot of different with voices across different languages and cultures. Can you share what's one of the most surprising ways culture shapes how we hear, judge, or even value a voice?
That's a fascinating question. And it's something I'd love to explore further. Right now, my work has focused mainly on Catalan, Spanish, and English voices, so I wouldn't claim to have a full picture yet. But one thing I find particularly interesting is how different cultures and languages shape what we consider a normal or acceptable voice quality. That's actually one of my long term goals with AllVoiced to expand the range of voice samples available in different languages and see how perception changes across cultures. Right now, the app includes part of the Perceptual Voice Qualities database by Walden, which is published under a Creative Commons license. And soon I'll be adding a new dataset of Spanish speaking voices from individuals with Parkinson's disease, the Neurovoz corpus. But it's not just about collecting voices. I've also started incorporating cross cultural adaptations of existing assessment tools. Right now, AllVoiced includes several adaptations of the Cape V, for example, and I'm actively working on adding more. This will allow researchers and clinicians to compare voice evaluations across different languages and cultural backgrounds in a structured way. Of course, adding voice samples to an open research platform isn't as simple as just uploading recordings. There are ethical requirements, informed consent procedures, privacy considerations, permissions that take time to address properly. But step by step, my goal is to build a diverse, multilingual reference that will help us better understand how we perceive voices across different linguistic and cultural backgrounds. So, while I don't have all the answers yet, sorry about that, this is something I'm actively working on, and I'm excited to see what we'll learn.
Yes, that is the beauty of what you are doing and really what we're all doing collectively. You know, we're always learning and growing. And I imagine as each day goes by, there's new information. And so for maybe someone that's listening, they may have this next question. So most people don't realize their voice is a skill they can strengthen. What would you say would be one simple but surprising exercise that can help anyone sound clearer, stronger, or more confident?
That's such an important point. Most people think of their voice as something they just have rather than a skill they can explore, strengthen, and most importantly, enjoy. But if I had to suggest just one exercise, I'd say play with your voice. Forget about training in a strict sense, just experiment. Have fun with it. Sing a random melody, make weird sounds, try different tones, textures. Exploring and enjoying your voice without fear is one of the most powerful ways to develop vocal confidence. In fact, I'm so fascinated by this idea that my own singing practice is now entirely based on vocal improvisation. I sing with a group called Veus Lliures, which means free voices in Catalan. And you can find us on Instagram and YouTube at Veus Lliures, spelled Veusliures. Veus Lliures. You are going to love it. We create improvised music using only our voices. And it's an incredible way to connect with yourself, with others, and with the sheer joy of vocal expression. And the best part, you don't need a stage to do it. You can explore and enjoy your voice in the car if you don't want your neighbors to think you've lost it, or anywhere you feel comfortable. Though I'll admit, my daughter constantly tells me to stop singing at home. So, yes, your voice is a skill, but the best way to strengthen it is to stop being afraid of using it and start enjoying it, exploring.
Our daughters may have talked to each other. I usually sometimes I'm singing in the car, and she
It's
may have
amazing.
told me, our oldest, okay, that's enough. uh, but that is fascinating. And I am fascinated by your work. And I know someone that is watching is fascinated. So if someone doesn't have a background in voice science or they want to learn more, what would be the easiest way they could start learning or even contribute to the field?
I love this question because voice science isn't just for SLPs, singers, or researchers. It's for anyone who's curious about how we use and perceive our voices. And you don't need a specific background to start learning. In addition to playing with your own voice, one of the easiest ways to begin is simply by listening more attentively, paying attention to voices around you. How do they sound? What makes them unique? What emotions do they convey? We often take voice for granted, but the moment you start actively listening, you realize how rich and complex it is. And if you want to go a step further, you can actually contribute to voice research. That's one of the reasons I created All to make voice assessments more accessible and collaborative. In the app, anyone can train their ear, explore different voices, and even participate in perceptual studies. You don't need any special qualifications, just curiosity and an interest in voices. Right now, I'm working on launching the Open Research Hub, a new feature within AllVoiced, where researchers can share open studies and invite people to participate. The idea is to connect curious minds with real research projects. So, whether you are a professional or just someone fascinated by your voice, you can be part of shaping what we learn about it. And that is just one of the many new features I'm preparing. There's so much more coming soon to AllVoiced, and I'm excited to keep expanding what's possible in this space. So, if this conversation has sparked your interest, just start listening differently. And if you want to take part in shaping how we understand voice perception, come join us at AllVoiced.
Wow, how exciting that not only are you, Dr. Calaf, shaping this space and voice, but others can join right where they are. So your work is really a testament to the power of the human voice, not just as a scientific subject, but as a force that shapes lives, inspires action, and defines history. So before we close, where can people find you and learn more about your work and all?
If anyone wants to connect or follow my work, you can find me on social media at Neus Calaf. That's all together, no spaces. And you can find AllVoiced at all-voiced.com, where you can explore the app, learn more about voice perception, or even participate in research. And well, so much. Thank you so much, Jordan. I really appreciate this conversation. I'm very happy to be here. And for all the people that has listening, thank you for your time, your curiosity, and for being part of this journey.
Thank you, Dr. Calaf. Thank you for your invaluable insights. And to all listening, may you not only find your voice, but have the courage to use it. The world needs to hear you.